The Civil War was a cruel time for all Americans. Our country was split north and south. Mounting differences between a strong central government and the rights of states, especially on the question of slavery, exploded into war. Most of the North considered slavery an abomination, while many in the South considered it necessary and proper. Some southern states felt their views so differed that they wanted to become a separate country, to leave the United States forever. General Robert E. Lee commanded the entire Southern Army. Together they fought valiantly, only to lose this bitter Civil War. He was a defeated general. Yet after the war, he received tributes from both sides. In time, Lee's home, Arlington House, became a memorial, a tribute to Robert E. Lee from the entire nation. Why is a house set aside to honor this man? Robert Edward Lee was born on the banks of the Potomac River at Stratford Hall in 1807, part of a distinguished Virginia family. Later, Robert and his family moved to Alexandria, farther up the Potomac. Here, young Lee listened to stories and walked in the footsteps of his hero, President Washington. Robert's father, Light Horse Harry Lee, was a cavalry hero during the Revolutionary War. He had fought alongside his good friend, General George Washington. Young Robert often visited Arlington House and a special friend, Mary Custis.
I wish you'd visit us more often.
Her father was George Washington Parke Custis, the grandson of Martha Washington. His paintings retold stories of Washington and the Revolutionary War.
First in war, first in peace, and first in the hearts of his countrymen.
Arlington House was full of Mount Vernon treasures that impressed young Lee greatly. Like Washington and his father before him, he pursued a military career. At 18, Robert E. Lee became a cadet at the United States Military Academy. 2 years after graduation, Robert returned to Arlington House to marry his childhood sweetheart, Mary Custis. The great house became home to the young couple. It would stand at the center of their lives for 30 years. As an Army engineer, Lee began building forts for the defense of the Atlantic coastline, proving his abilities to plan and supervise complex military construction projects. His engineering duties often drew him and the family far from Arlington, and sometimes his family could not accompany him. During these separations, Robert sorely missed his family, as his letters made clear. I'm very anxious, my dear Mary, to get back to see you all. How is the little darling and her bright eyes?
Oh, that's beautiful.
Whenever possible, the family returned to Arlington. Here they spent quiet days together, enjoying the company of their growing family. In 1846, when Lee was 39 years old, the United States went to war with Mexico over the boundary of the new state of Texas. Captain Lee was ordered to Mexico.
For it was founded upon a rock. Let us say a silent prayer for Papa.
Lee had been a peacetime soldier for 17 years, but now, for the first time, he would be tested in battle. During the Mexican War, Captain Lee earned high praise for his cool thinking. He often scouted behind enemy lines.
Tell General Scott I'll be with him momentarily.
His commanding general called Robert E. Lee the very best soldier that I ever saw in the field. During the war, Lee was separated from his family for almost 2 years. Then, once again, the Lee and Custis families were together for Christmas at Arlington.
Annie, you run along upstairs now. Your father will be here soon.
What about horses?
So we went turkey hunting.
Well, down a little bit.
Daniel, have someone watching for the colonel.
Mary, Rudy, now is the time for your Christmas card. There.
'Twas the night before Christmas, and all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were
For Lee, the true reward was returning home to his wife and family.
Is your family in Arlington now?
Yes, they are.
After the war, he returned to building forts. Then Colonel Lee became superintendent of the military academy at West Point. Many of the cadets he trained there would later become the opposing general officers during the Civil War. Life suddenly changed at Arlington with the death of Mrs. Custis. The Lees deeply mourned the loss, and Colonel Lee himself designed her tombstone.
Mary, I had this made for you.
Lee's Army career took a new direction. He was assigned to frontier duty out west. Again, he faced the painful separation from Arlington and his family.
Mother, a letter from Papa.
Thank you, Mildred. It's wonderful. Now, you run along back to your piano practice.
My dearest Mary, oh, what pleasure I lose being separated from my children. Nothing can compensate me for that. Still, I must remain here, ready to perform what little service I can, and hope for the best. Though absent, my heart will be in the midst of you. I shall enjoy in imagination and memory all that is going on. I can do nothing but love and pray for you all. Dear Mildred, I hope you will like your new music teacher, Mr. Palmer, as you become acquainted with him. But you will like neither the teacher nor the subject unless you practice diligently and learn to play well. That is the secret. We are always fond of what we do well. Mr. Custis died a few years after Mrs. Custis. His death brought changes to life at Arlington House. Colonel Lee returned to settle his father-in-law's business debts and personally supervise the farm. Political differences between the northern and southern states were beginning to divide the country. In 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected president. Family and friends gathered at Arlington as Lee faced the most difficult moment of his life. 6 southern states had left the Union. On April 12th, troops fired on Fort Sumter, the first shots of a long civil war. In response, Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers to invade the southern states. Lee was opposed to states leaving the Union, and he disapproved of slavery. Yet, Lee saw himself as a Virginian first. And now that Virginia threatened to leave the Union, Lee decided to resign his U.S. military commission.
It is done. My resignation.
With all my devotion to the Union and feeling of loyalty and duty as an American citizen, I have not been able to make up my mind to raise my hand against my relatives, my children, my home. It was hard for him to leave Arlington that sad April day in 1861. As he left for Richmond, he knew that Arlington House and his beloved Virginia would soon be in the path of the northern invasion of the southern states. Mrs. Lee stayed behind until she learned the Northern Army was moving into Virginia. In May, just a few days after she left her home, beautiful Arlington became an Army camp. As the war began, the North had 3 times the manpower as well as factories to manufacture all the supplies an army needed. The South had almost no factories and few trained soldiers. Yet most Southern men already knew how to shoot and ride. They fought with courage and a strong commitment to their cause. General Lee was brilliant and daring. He inspired his soldiers with his dignity, bravery, and kindness. Lee's brave soldiers fought for him when they were without decent clothing or even shoes. They fought when they were hungry and even starving toward the end. They fought until General Lee himself felt they should not go on. What a cruel thing is war, to separate and destroy families and friends, to fill our hearts with hatred instead of love for our neighbors, and to devastate the fair face of this beautiful world. In April 1865, General Lee finally surrendered to General Grant. Even the Northern soldiers removed their hats in respect as the defeated general passed by. The war left General Lee aged and exhausted. Men, we have fought the war together. I have done my best for you. My heart is too full to say more. Robert E. Lee rejoined his family in Richmond. The ruins of the city were a terrible reminder of the war's destruction throughout the South. He accepted the outcome of the war and dedicated himself to rebuilding the South and reuniting the country. Mourned by all Americans, North and South, General Lee died on October 12, 1870. His years at Arlington had fostered the highest human qualities: love of family, duty, integrity. The South lost the war, but the life of Robert E. Lee has become a lasting victory. Thus, Lee's home, Arlington House, not a stone statue or a marble monument, has become a national tribute to one of our bravest soldiers, one of America's greatest of men.